Hi, Miss Santa Glacia students. This is Mrs. Martin, your librarian. I wanted to talk about the Of Mice and Men Pathfinder and how to search through some of the databases. You have lots of online resources here that you can access on campus or at home. If you have any issues with passwords or have any questions, please email me. My email is at the bottom of the Pathfinder, or sort of towards the bottom. So in the past, the requirements for this project were that students used a variety of resources, um, databases, encyclopedias, books, websites, etc. I'm not sure if those requirements have changed since we're in hybrid, but please just follow whatever instructions Ms. Santa Glacia gave you. So if you are required to use specific sources, one thing that I always tell students is maybe figure out which ones would be best for the different topics for this research paper. So for example, I don't know if you're familiar with Britannica, but this encyclopedia company would be great for looking at biographies or overall facts about events. So maybe you would use it for looking up John Steinbeck or the basics of the Great Depression. We have a U.S. history database. So of course that would be for U.S. historical events like the Great Depression. Literature database, probably find John Steinbeck in there. So just go through these sources, even the websites. Maybe you've found John Steinbeck and the Great Depression, but you're really struggling with the segregation question. You'll notice that I do have a couple websites just on minorities and segregation. So really utilize this Pathfinder and pick and choose what sources will be best for each question. I am going to start with the first question, who is John Steinbeck, and I'm going to use Encyclopedia Britannica. And I am going to search for him. So there's different choices. We're going to go with this information here on who he was rather than his works. You might want to touch on that. I know it says you want to list his books, but first let's find out more about him. So Ms. Santa Glacia always really challenges students to just think beyond the basic information. So a lot of people, in general know that he was from the Central Coast. His books focused on laborers during the Great Depression, but she's challenging you to go beyond those details and really look at, what influenced him to be the writer he was and to write about the topics he wrote about. So you will have to look through these sources. Maybe this one doesn't have what you need. Maybe you need to try another source. I was looking in the second paragraph. I noticed it says he spent considerable time supporting himself as a manual laborer while writing, and his experiences lent authenticity to his depictions of the lives of the workers in his stories. Wow, that's definitely, him working as a laborer would definitely be a cause for him writing about what he wrote about. It would be an influence. So sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you're like, this source isn't great. Let me go to another one. You're going to have to try different ones. And that's the beauty of the Pathfinder. It's got a lot for you to pick from. Okay, with this encyclopedia, there are a lot of tools up here that I suggest you take advantage of. One is this citation tool. It will help you when it comes to citing sources. Let's look at another question. I'm going to use the U.S. history database to focus on segregation and what life was like for minorities. So what is a database? You guys haven't really gotten to learn about databases much. I haven't worked with you. Maybe since Ms. Santa Glacia explained databases. Just know that they are a collection of sources. So within these, you will find newspaper articles, magazine articles, encyclopedia articles, images, videos, recordings, It's your one-stop shop for information. And what we have on the library website is our databases organized by subject. So when you're researching history, you will get the best luck with looking in the history database. We have both world and US. We have a science database. We have a health database. So we are focused on this US database for our segregation question. So the last thing I want to see you do is type in the question. It's not Google. Don't do what was life like. No, the database will not know what you're talking about. You want to just enter 1 or 2 words in these search bars. So you can just type in segregation and see what happens. However, let's try it. My guess is it's going to give you segregation throughout history, throughout American history. So yeah, we have post-Reconstruction. This one's, a big range. Let's narrow down these results. Let's tell the database that we're focused on the Great Depression. So I'm going to type in minorities and then just the word Great Depression. Wow, that was easy. Minority groups and the Great Depression. And it's from a book, a reference book, which is like a big volume book about the Great Depression. So this is perfect. And I like this article, I looked at it earlier, because it talks about various groups. So in Of Mice and Men, there's an African American character. There are, I think, at least 1 or more Latino characters. There's a woman. So this breaks it down by group. So you don't have to read every single word. You just jump to the sections that maybe you want to talk about. All right. When it comes to citing, the database walks you through that as well. You click Cite, and you can copy this citation, and that will help you out. Okay, let's try another search. I'm going to do something similar with the third question, what was the Great Depression? I'll show you 2 examples. You can just type in Great Depression. But most people think of the Great Depression for its economic effects. So you have distribution of wealth. Let's see, we've got lots of sources here. Let's stick with reference. These are from encyclopedias usually, or big volume historical books. Let's just try this top one. So the word Great Depression was in our search, so of course it's highlighted. It's talking about a lot of different things. Pearl Harbor, Okay, this one I'm not too impressed by, so let's try something else. Let's open this up, see some more reference sources. It did start with the Dust Bowl, so you could definitely talk about that. Financial crisis. Oh, no, wrong time period. Okay, so this one might be good. Talks about the economy crash starting in 1929. Let's check this out. Yeah, Great Depression in the United States, definitely want to focus on that. This one might be good, but you see I had to expand the results. It wasn't within the first 3 results. Let's work smarter, not harder. You're focused on the effects, right? That was part B. What are some of the effects? So let's try effects. Great Depression, just like we did with the minority question. Tell the database to narrow down the results. Okay, lots of choices. Industry effects, so focused on the economy and jobs. And then values. This is interesting. How did people's maybe patterns change? Their social patterns, for example. Both of these would work because you're looking at social effects, psychological, physical. Let's try industry. Lots of information. There's words that are highlighted, so maybe you could jump around. And then I like how Gale gives you other suggestions. So, and keywords too. So lots of different options within the U.S. History database. eBooks. I want to jump to that because that's another digital source you guys can use from home. I have all the different topics, the Great Depression, minorities, Steinbeck. These are treated like books where it's just one person able to check these out digitally at a time. So, if it's out, someone might already be reading it. But how you look at these is you click login, and your username is the first part of your email. So those first 4 letters and then the 5 numbers. You don't need the @edu ending, EDUHSD. Skip that. Next, your password is just those 4 digits that you always enter for the Chromebooks. So that's how you read an ebook. Another option is I have the El Dorado County Library bookmarked. You can definitely look for books, either digital or print books, through their catalog here. So that's another idea. And then the web, you're probably going to find any topic on the web. So I would save your hardest topics for websites if you have to use a variety of sources. Hopefully this helps you. I'm going to make a video next on Noodle Tools and how to use that. But again, please contact me with any questions. Thanks, guys.